How's it going, guys? Roogisan here. Welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. We are here in the vehicle assembly building, and you may notice this panel up here, the Kerbal Engineer Redux. Basically, this is a mod that I've started playing with, which basically calculates the Delta V, among other things. So it's going to make things a little bit easier to play. I will leave a link in the description of where you can find this mod. I highly recommend you use it because it is a lifesaver. Basically, it gives you a whole lot of information. You can choose where you want to take off from. In our case, we're going to be launching from Kerbin. It gives you the two most important things when it comes to building a rocket: the TWR, or thrust to weight ratio, and the Delta V. Now, the TWR, you want to have both numbers in all of your stages above 1. If you don't have them above 1, you are not going to escape Kerbin's gravity, which is exactly 1g. So as you can see, our lower stage, which are these two boosters, give us a thrust to weight ratio of 2.08, going up to a maximum of 2.78 once they're almost empty. And then we have a single main stage which has a TWR of 1.35 with a max of 4 when it's running low. And that leads us on to Delta V. This is the... well, if you want to know what it is, go and Google it, what it exactly means and what it stands for. But basically all you need to know is you need between 3,500 and 4,000 Delta V to get into orbit, depending on where you are, obviously. So this ship has got just under 4,000 Delta V. It should be enough to take us into orbit. We're doing a contract mission where we're ferrying a VIP. I know we've done this before. I just wanted to sort of introduce to you guys the Kerbal Engineer system. It does mean that you add this part here. Come on, mouse wheel, scroll. Thank you. Keep scrolling. This little green computer chip. It costs 100, but it basically gives you access to the flight engineer on the launch pad, which I'll show you now. Alright, so here we are on the launch pad. We've got Jeb and we've got Nellen, the tourist. So I've customized the flight engineer, which you can do by pushing this, and you can select a whole variety of different things if you want. We are not going to want those. We are just going to want we don't want those. There we go. So now we're just going to be seeing the two HUDs up the top here. Goodbye, get rid of that. Two HUDs up the top here, and this I'm pointing at the screen, this data that I have selected out of the tons of different options. This is going to tell us, going through HUD 1, the height of the apoapsis, the time to it, and the same with the periapsis. This is incredibly useful because it means you don't have to keep swapping back between this view and the map mode. On the other side here, we've got the altitude, vertical speed, horizontal speed, the biome that we're over, and our Mach number, which is really only going to be useful if we're flying jets, but it's there just in case. In the data panel, we've got the time until we exit the atmosphere or until we enter the atmosphere, depending on where we are. The vertical speed, the Delta V for all of the individual stages, as well as the total at the bottom. So at the moment we're sitting on a total Delta V of 3,300. That might not be enough, but we're going to get into it anyway and see what happens. So throttle to max, and we launch. So we're going to go straight up to begin with. We want to gain as much vertical speed that you can see up here or on the nav ball. I'm going to keep going up until these boosters run out, and we're going to lean over to the side just before that happens. Here we go. Come on. And now we're going to chuck them. And ignite. Whoa, we've gone way off course there. Ignite the next engine. Now our acceleration is much lower. That's because our thrust to weight ratio is 1.4. Obviously it's rising as we're burning fuel. I wonder if we could do a crew report here. Nope. Apoapsis is approaching 20,000. Oh, started to get a bit of a wobble on there. And our boosters, I believe, have just smashed into the ground. We're about halfway through the fuel in this stage. Still got 2,200 worth of Delta V left. Our apoapsis up over 50,000 now. We're going to bring up our objectives. Oh, and our apoapsis is now 80,000. So that means that we can do our orbital burn. Apoapsis of 82, periapsis of 23, oop, 78, perfect. Let's point at the target. Now notice over here it says the time to burn is time to node burn and time to node. So it's automatically calculated when we should start burning. It's about half a minute away. The burn is going to last a minute. Hopefully we have enough fuel. And we have now left the atmosphere. Suborbital spaceflight on Kerbin is achieved. Okay, 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, burn. Hopefully we've got enough fuel to manage this. We're going to watch our periapsis height up on HUD 1 here. Once it rises to plus 70,000, we will have achieved our orbit. I don't know if we're going to get there. Although they're really starting to climb now. Perhaps this height of 80,000. Orbit achieved. How's the fuel? Not good. Hopefully that's enough though to get us back down safely. So we're going to head over to the apoapsis. We're going to add a maneuver. We're going to bring our periapsis in to 19,000. So 1 second burn, so we should have done it. We're going to warp to the next maneuver. Point ourselves. Ooh. Turn SAS off, we don't want to use up all of our electric charge. Speed up time a little. Okay, 10 seconds to burn. Three, two, one. Did we not? Periapsis height is 30,000. So that should be enough to deorbit us. So we're just gonna warp around to here. Keeping an eye on our altitude. Oh, we're dipping in. Where's Kerbin? Oh, there it is. Point retrograde, quickly. Quickly. Okay. We're going to jettison that. Speed up time a little. Reorientate retro. And it's pitch black, so you guys aren't going to see a whole lot. That better not have been put back out into orbit. Don't need more space junk out here. The periapsis height is dropping. Oh, here we go. Retrograde. Stability assist on. In fact, we can turn SAS off now. Just let it naturally fall. Can we? Can always turn it back on if need be. Will we be deorbiting on this pass? We have about 6.5 minutes before we reach the periapsis, which is 17,000. And we are starting to spin out of control. There we go. Come on, Jeb. Bring Nellen home. Periapsis is dropping to the ground now. How's the ablator doing? Because I did cut back on that. That's doing well. Come on, Jebediah. Retrograde again. Okay, we're going to have the impact time up as well. It's going to take us 1.5 minutes now at this speed to hit the surface. Nellon's looking good. Come off retrograde. Come on, Jib. There we go. Looks like we're heading for the ocean. The heat's dissipating. Can now turn the SAS off. Ready with the chutes. Drogues away. That's how our impact time has risen there, because we've got the chutes deployed. Deploy the main ones. And we'll sink down towards the planet. Under time warp. In fact, let's just jettison the heat shield. Whoops. There we go. Got rid of it. Let's just hope that heat shield doesn't come back down on us. Did it just go past? Yep. Missed us by a hair. It looks like we're not going to land in the... We're upside down! That's more like it. We're not going to land in the ocean, but that's fine. Well, must have already got one from the desert. Well done, Jeb. Keeps looking up, making sure the parachutes are still there. We have landed.